Wonder if your team, there we go, off mute. Can you hear us?
थोड़ा पुढे आहे. थोडी Okay, no problem. We can start now.
Perfect. Thank you, Minister. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I hear you.
Wonderful. I'm Francois Bonici. I'm head of the Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship based at the World Economic Forum. Delighted to have you with us. Thank you for making the time. I think you know Jacob Matthew from Industry Foundation, who've been instrumental in putting this together. And with us, the other speaker, Valeria Duflo, who is going to be speaking about the tourism industry in Europe in particular. But we're excited to have you with us. Your commitment to small and medium enterprises, village skills throughout your career, but also commitment to making time and working with social entrepreneurs and actors who work to improve livelihoods is recognized and is important. So I'm going to be starting the session in probably just a minute. I will do a short introduction, introduce the topic, introduce you as speakers, and then I will come to you first, Minister, with a number of questions I think that you may have seen, and also look forward to your responses on these topics, also recognizing the report that you and your ministry released last week on jobs, growth, and sustainability. So we look forward to the discussion with you. Jacob, is there anything you would like to say up front before we open up?
No problem. You can start it.
I think, the Prime Minister's Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is one of the things that we would touch upon. But over to you, Francois.
Thank you so much. And I think over to the technical team to open up to our audience, primarily made, I think, of social entrepreneurs, actors in the social sector from around the world, but from India included. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can someone tell me when we are live?
I think we are live.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much and welcome to everyone. I hope you can all hear me. My name is Francois Bonici. I am the head and director of the Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship, based at the World Economic Forum. I'm speaking to you, I guess, like many of you, from my home in Geneva, and welcome to all of you from around the world. We're delighted and honored this afternoon to have the Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari, the Minister of Road and Transport, Highways, Shipping and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises from the Government of India, making time to share with all of you the important topic of growth of regenerative economies. With us will be Jacob Matthew from Industry Foundations and Valeria Duflo from Venezia Authentica and Over Tourism Solution. We're really excited today as part of this Catalyst 20 Catalyzing Change webinar to have a real interaction with government policymakers and decision makers, with social entrepreneurs who have been doing incredible work around a common vision around creating regenerative economies. And we're going to be talking in this context, obviously, during the COVID crisis, and looking at how we are needing to adapt to COVID not being a single crisis, but an ongoing one, and how it has disproportionately affected communities that already have been excluded, already living in precarious livelihoods, and the economic impacts that have been released in just the last couple of weeks by the World Bank and the OECD about what we are to face. The two examples we're going to be looking at, two industries, are really important because they present incredible opportunities for protecting livelihoods, for creating inclusive economies, and those will be the creative economy and the tourism industry, and both Jacob and Valeria will be talking to that. but we'll start off with the Minister. I wanted to, before we go to the Honourable Minister, talk a little bit about why the connection and the importance between social entrepreneurs and government is so critical. I think the Minister, in your report, you've recently talked about the need for a social contract. Here at the World Economic Forum next week on our Great Reset initiative, the first topic we're looking at is the social contract indeed. And often we have these conversations without each other in silos, so it's a really important opportunity to bring this together. What does it mean for these partnerships to come together? I think the aspiration is for what we're using a term in the social entrepreneurship language called systems change or systemic change. What does that really mean? What it really means is we want to change the rules of the game. We want to change who gets to benefit, where resources flow to, who gets to participate on a sustainable basis, how decisions are made, and what an economy really looks like on a sustainable basis, not as one-offs. And so these are the kinds of systemic changes we need, and we cannot do that as social entrepreneurs and as a community of change actors without real engagement from governments. So we're at this point, I just want to talk about these two industries we're going to be talking about. First of all, the creative manufacturing industry has somewhere between, we don't really know, 200 million up to 1 billion people engaged in handcrafts around the world. The information in the sector is relatively poor because it primarily occurs in the informal economy. But we know that the potential is up to $1 trillion, with current estimates of about $500 billion in USD of annual revenues. We know that in India, the Khadi and Village Industries Commission recorded business of 12 billion US, and that's growing year on year, and that's only what's recorded. And we know that creative manufacturing offers the potential to be truly regenerative, as it actually speaks to, as we start thinking about the Sustainable Development Agenda, many of the issues and the SDG targets and goals that we have. On the other hand, the tourism industry is actually quite well recorded, is 10.3% of global GDP, 330 million jobs, 1 in 10 jobs around the world, and we know many of those are also in the informal economy or in small, medium, and micro businesses. It was a growing sector, obviously, until this year, but it is clearly one of the spaces in a recovery period that we have an opportunity to rethink who really benefits and to what degree people benefit. Like many industries in the world, a deep degree of inequality exists. And here is the opportunity we get to talk about today. And this is the work that social entrepreneurs do, trying to work on issues of equity by driving economic change. And so really seeing regenerative economies as an economic tool to work on these issues of equity, of justice, of inclusion, of sustainability. And I think that's what all of our panelists are dedicating their lives to. So without further ado, my real privilege to introduce the Honourable Minister Nitin Gadkari, Minister of Road Transport, Highways and Shipping, and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Welcome, Minister.
Namaskar.
Thank you so much for your time today. I want to start by asking you, you've had a career that has been committed to the small and medium micro entrepreneurs, the informal workers, the village workers, tribal workers who work on sustaining their own livelihoods. And throughout your career and positions, you've been committed to this. But now also the government's commitment of self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, is really about strengthening India and its interaction with the rest of the world. Tell us a little bit about what the self-reliant India means to India and its and what it hopes to achieve by this. And then I think we'll go a bit deeper into the report that you released last week on jobs, growth and sustainability.
All respectable dear friends, actually we are all facing this COVID crisis in the whole world, and because of COVID also our economy is facing also a lot of problems. In Indian scenario, our 29% of the growth of our GDP is coming from MSME, micro, small and medium industries. We have our export, out of which 48% export from MSME. And up till now, we have created 11 crore jobs in the country. The most important thing is we have socially, economically, educationally backward area which identify as agriculture sector, rural sector and tribal sector. In tribal, their forest is there, and where our GDP is very negligible. There are 115 aspirant districts also. Their situation is economically we need to do something good for them because presently they are also facing lot of problems. So basically we need to develop the socially, economically, educationally backward area. So now we are identifying the technology and the industries by which we can create more employment potential. In Indian scenario, we have got talented youth power, skilled manpower is available, and because of the population, the big market is also equally available. We have got availability of raw materials, and also we have got the technology which are available. In the export point of view, now we are making research and study of last 3 years of export and imports. The basic concept which Prime Minister vision is that first of all how we can find out option for our imports. The basically import substitute, cost effective, pollution free and indigenous technology where we want to use it for that. And that is the reason that, for example, I am giving an example that we have an automobile industry having turnover of 4,50,000 crores, out of which 1,45,000 crores is our export. All prestigious and reputed automobile brands in the whole world are now present in India, manufacturing trucks, buses, cars, bikes, everything. So now the idea is we are importing crude oil of 7 lakh crores. So first of all, in our country we are working that how we can implement the policy where imports substitute cost effective, pollution free and indigenous. So first we start bioethanol, making ethanol from this sugarcane juice, molasses. Now we are giving permission for making ethanol from food grain and corn. We have surplus of sugar for 2 years, surplus of wheat and rice for 3 years. We don't have go down that much to store the things. So now we diversify our agriculture towards energy and power sector, and by giving this permission, our idea is within 2-3 years we should have ethanol economy of 1 lakh crore. Now we have got the technology available from the Indian company which is globally working, named as Praj from Pune. They are making marine fuel and aviation fuel from bioethanol. So we want to make the size of this ethanol economies of 1 lakh crore, and we are trying to make more value addition in it, by which even we can go for option of marine fuel and also for aviation fuel. We have successfully experimented 2 experiments. At last 26 January's function, already our fighter jet and helicopter, by using 100% bio aviation fuel, they successfully complete the experiment. And we have already another experiment is taken Spice Jet flight from Dehradun to Delhi for using 25% bio aviation fuel. These are the sectors where the huge potential is available. So as a transport minister in self-reliance India, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat, where we are planning to move India towards direction where within 5 years at least our import of crude oil will not be more than 25% of our requirement. So that is the most important field where our agriculture, our employment potential will increase, agriculture will benefit from that, and which is the need of the hour. At the same time, we have now in defense sector, we are encouraging 100% FDI in defense sector. So naturally, we are now expecting investment and technology in the sector. There is a huge potential. The other important thing is we are developing water transport now. In Indian scenario, we need catamaran, hovercraft, seaplane, amphibious seaplane. We have completed one of the important waterways of Ganga from Varanasi to Haldia of 1,380 kilometers. And after Haldia, the Bengal Sea is there. And after that, again we completed dredging in Brahmaputra, even in Barak, and we have made dredging up to Mungli port in Bangladesh. So development of waterways where we can use water transport, catamaran, hovercrafts, ships, boats, and different type of new innovation in the particularly for fishing and other thing we can use it. For example, I will give you an example. The 18% of our population is linked to the sea because we have got 7,500 kilometers of seafront. And the boats which are available with our fishermen, they can go only up to 8 nautical mile, 7 to 8 nautical mile. But we have invented trawlers now, where their capacity is going up to 100 nautical mile in the sea. So in the Pradhan Mantri's package for specially helping for different stakeholders, the fishing packages of 20,000 crore. So idea is to take this all fishermen, they can make we have farmer produce companies like fish produce company we can make, and 5 fishermen come together to have equity of 25 lakh crore. They will get 1 crore loan from the government, and there is a ice factory and everything. The new technology is there. They can go up to 100 nautical mile, which is going to increase our productivity by 6 to 7 times. There will be processing industry, there will be packaging industry, there will be great export also. So present size of our blue economy is 1 lakh crore, where we are expecting within 5 years we can make the size of 5 lakh crores. So here is the huge potential by which we can strengthen our rural backward area. At the same time, we are working on honey, handloom, handicrafts. Last year up to the March end, our village industry turnover was 88,000 crore. We are making khadi denim. We have solar charkha. Now idea is giving solar charkha to 10 lakh ladies, those who can operate solar charkha from their house with a solar energy, and they can make thread from that and supply to the textile mill. So that is the scheme where we are now working on it. We are now also working on honey biscuit, honey ice cream, and also a lot of new innovation. In dairy sector also we are self-sufficient. We have got tremendous capacity we have now. So where we have chance for export, that is our priority. And we need to find out the option for import. That is our most important priority, because to make in India, made in India is the basic mission behind it. And for that reason I am confident that for new technology, new innovation, research is very important. And we as a government always feel that the innovation, entrepreneurship, science, technology, research, skill and successful experiences, where we name it as a knowledge and conversion of knowledge into wealth, is the future for the country. All over in the software industry, our Indian students, young talented students, they have a very, very important role in the whole world. They are doing excellent job. Our doctors are very well recognized in USA, UK, everywhere. And now even we are trying to educate particularly the young talented people with the appropriate skill, by which this manpower is becoming a great strength for India. We are working on different fields for that. And that is the strength of the Indian economy. This young, talented, skilled manpower is also one of the strength for all of us. So in the presently there is an opportunity for industry, that upgradation of technology, and the most important thing where the advantage for the investor is the returns available in India is good and attractive. Actually, our interest rate for financing is now very high. It comes to 8 to 9%, somewhere it is 10%. So in NBFCs, non-banking financial institutions, banks, there is a huge opportunity for investment. Now our idea is, in this package, the Prime Minister has already declared that we are making this MSME, the small scale industries. Now we want to go now we are giving them chance to go enter into the capital market. The insurance economy, pension economy and stock exchange economy, as comparing with the foreign countries, India has got huge potential which we are not exploiting. Now this is the time that we are giving higher priority for that. So the MSME, they will get investment from foreign investors also, and that can be a great boost to them, and they will get good returns from that. Our MSME is very competent and they have already good track record for export, and their cost is very effective, their quality is good. So there is a huge potential for them. At the same time, the most important thing for our country is that we have water, power, transport and communication. We are in a good position. As a road sector where I am working, when I taken charge as a minister, it was 2 km per day. It is now 30 km per day. We have at least 2 lakh kilometer of national highway, which is the highest length, and now we are already in position to making of 22 green express highway. So for this year, within 2 years, our idea is to at least awarded work more than 15 lakh crore in Bharatmala. There are 22 green express highway. One is between Mumbai to Delhi. That highway is from, the price of the one highway is of 1 lakh crore, and it is going through the backward and tribal area of Haryana, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. So already we have saved 16,000 crore on land acquisition. The land acquisition cost is very cheaper because it is going through a backward and tribal area of India. It starts from Sona near Gurgaon, going to Alwar, Sawai Madhopur, then going to Jhabua, Ratlam, going to Vadodara to Mumbai. So this highway is going to reduce distance between Mumbai to Delhi by 220 km as compared with the present alignment Delhi, Ahmedabad, Surat, Vadodara, Mumbai. So the now idea is to make smart cities, smart villages, industrial clusters, logistic parks, roadside amenities, and we are trying to make 2,000 petrol pump also. That idea is we want to increase the income of NHI, National Highway Authority, which has a AAA rating, 100% owned by government, and this AAA rating is from the world institution, and our total income is 28,000 crore presently. At the end of this year, we are expecting 40,000 crore, and the idea is within 5 years we will make the income of 1 lakh crores. This is very economically viable and they are doing good jobs. Because the toll income is most important for the road project. Our traffic density is constantly going to increase. So there is a huge possibility to invest in infrastructure in India. There are a lot of schemes related with bus port, airports, railway stations. Then there is a chance for making of public transport system on electricity. When I was Water Resource Minister, we signed the agreement with the Austrian company Doffelmayr. When I was in Davos, at that time I visited their factory in Austria. for ropeway, cable car, vernacular railway. They have 65% of their share in the world market. Now the technology is available and India has got, that is the tourism point of view, other point of view, it's a very attractive proposal. At least 100 viable projects are there in the hill area. We can make, we are making one highway from connecting Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, Yamunotri in Uttarakhand, where the Oli is a place which is equally beautiful like Davos. The same climate, same atmosphere is there. So now we are now planning to develop lot of religious tourism point of view, then water sports, then adventure sports, restaurants, hotels, all type of potential is very, very high because India has got a different type of character, culture, language, so history. So it is an attractive thing that it can attract international tourists. Already lot of people are coming. But by making good infrastructure, good resorts, good restaurants, good hotels, good roads, we can attract more people, creating more airports. So that is the idea that we are now planning for that. Just 5 months before, Prime Minister has taken at least 12 to 13 meetings with different sections for making vision for India. So all secretary group, they have presented the plan, and where the plan to make how we can make India economically strong. And that is exactly the interest, the vision of Prime Minister to develop India, where we have an aim to create more employment potential, eradicate poverty. For that reason, we need to strengthen Indian economy. And for that reason, we need more investment. And the present crisis, the most important thing is demand and supply. We need to increase liquidity into the market. And now we have got the potential, we have got the economic viable projects. We can make good export. I don't want to make any comments on this subject, it is sensitive, but the whole world is now not very much interested to deal with China. That is also the blessing in disguise for Indian economy, where a lot of people from the different parts of the world, they want to deal with India. So in this situation, we need to increase our export. We want to reduce our import. We have to make new industrial clusters. We need to take competitive economics, that point of view, we need to reduce the logistic cost, construction, the production cost, power cost, labor cost. We are all working on that. Already we are working. In ease of business, the World Bank has already given a higher number to India. There are a lot of improvements already we have implemented. And I feel that it is a continuous process. But the direction is very positive, transparent, time-bound, result-oriented, corruption-free, and quality consciousness is there. The people are now understand that 101% good quality, delivery on time is punctuality, and good packaging. These are the three important things for the exports. Now they are professionally manage the thing. So I feel that India has got a huge potential, and Indian economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. But present this COVID crisis, also it creates a lot of problem. We are facing problem. And I feel that the best way is to, if we can go into the details sector by sector, and already we have the plan for next 20 years, 25 years for that sectors. On the basis of that can be easily elaborate the vision of Prime Minister. To make India self-reliant, to make India making more exports and reduce the imports, to create job opportunity to all the stakeholders, and there will be a decentralization of industry, decentralization of wealth, not only up to Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, but where we need to go into the details up to the village level. The village industry's turnover is 88,000 crore last year. But now my plan is within 2 years, I want to make it 5 lakh crore. So I am working on that line, starting from honey, fishing, forest materials, then making of agro-processing industries, pre-cooling plant, cold storage, biofuels, fishing, wooden furniture, all different agro-processing industries, food industry. We are now planning that how we can already things are moving very fast to create more jobs, because jobs, growth and sustainability, three things are equally important. But at the same time, ecology and environment is also important. We need to work on electric vehicles, ethanol, methanol, biodiesel, bio-CNG, electric, LNG. Then we are working on hydrogen fuel cell also. So everywhere there is a progress. The Indian industry, Indian engineers are very competent and they are doing excellent jobs to make India strong, to increase export, creating more opportunity for job potential. At the same time, to eradicate the poverty by getting strong economy, and it will be a self-dependent, self-reliant and 100% export oriented. That is the idea. And here not only export from big cities or our ports are in a very, very good position. We have doubled the capacity of the port, 12 major ports. I am giving a small example. Last 5 years previously, I was Minister for Port and Shipping. Our all 12 major port with Indian government all in good profit. And our profit is 7,000 crore. So the idea is now that we have increased efficiency in the ports. So the now ports productivity is increased and their efficiency is double now. As far as international standards are concerned, our ports are now just reaching to the mark of that level. So everywhere there is a transformation. There is the mantra, the mission is reform, transform and perform. So that is the mission behind all these things. And I am confident that present we are facing challenges, but 100% we are in the fast track. We will develop this economy of taking advantage also for getting more export, and at the same time now we are open for investment, foreign investment, for new technology also. And where the new technology is, some of the investors are ready to come to India, we are definitely giving them special treatment, giving them special policy. We will support them. And I am confident that in present world economic situation, India is the fastest growing economy. It is a destiny for many people, and where we want to make India strong by all ways. That is the dream of our Prime Minister, Atmanirbhar Bharat. And that is exactly the feeling of the people, and we are working very, very seriously and hard on this mission. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. I might ask you one short question. Thank you so much for laying out the vision and the infrastructure and the focus on particular industries. This group and this topic is really interested in addition, the MSMEs and the communities living in rural villages. Social entrepreneurs and social actors in civil society often are the intermediaries and actors that work to support these village industries and these small to medium and micro entrepreneurs in skilling up, in protecting livelihoods. What is the government's position, or what do you see the role of the social sector as being part of this social contract in really bringing that vision to light that you've spoken about? If you could ask Jacob quite specifically about.
Actually, as a government, as a leadership, as a Prime Minister, and we are committed for social equality and economic equality. Now I am giving an example. The 1 crore people, 100 lakh people in India, they was pulling that cycle rickshaw. Now we introduced the mechanized driven e-rickshaw. The 50 lakhs people now using mechanized driven e-rickshaw. Total change the social transformation. So where we need to develop giving education, health services and economic reliance to the poor people who are socially, economically, educationally backward. And our total schemes, particularly Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, where we have opened 35 crore bank accounts, Atal Pension Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, where we are making houses for the poor people, landless and homeless people. We are planning for making of smart villages like smart cities. And at the same time, we are working on organic food, particularly organic agriculture. That is also a success story in India. So the way in which we are taking decisions, definitely after some days can be an ideal example for the world also, that we are developing the things in a way where our small social sector, particularly the poor people from the tribal area, rural area, agriculture, forest, where we are now giving more priority for development. There are some raw materials are available, there are some strength. We need to use that strength for making their economy strong. And where we will find out the food, shelter and house for them. There where the idea is of smart village, there will be a drinking water, road, everything, power, school, college, educational institution, health institution is very important. Somewhere we need to take the advantage of their raw material available in that area and we can make it. I am talking about the biofuel, that we have got the non-edible oilseed, Ratanjot, Moha, Sal, Karan, Stoli, where even bamboo, we can make it marine fuel and aviation fuel. The experiments are going on, by which there will be a factories where we can make it this option for import substitute. So by which the economy after that it can be more easy for us to develop the area, to create economic jobs for them, those who are socially, economically educated backward, to get more wealth to them. Without that we cannot start the process of socio-economic transformation. So there, yes.
Yes.
I'm going to ask Jacob to come in here because I think you've raised some really important points, and also on the webinar we have quite a few questions and important comments about the connection with civil society, with social entrepreneurs, with self-help women groups, and the capacity that already exists in many of these areas as partners to work with governments. And we're going to hear about this now with Jacob. But there was also a comment particularly on a focus on crafts and textiles and particular policies around that. But Jacob, I'm going to ask you to come in here, introduce yourself, please, and Industry Foundation, and tell us a little bit about the creative industries, creative manufacturing, and how you might respond to the vision that has been set out by the Honourable Minister's government, and how you work in realizing that vision.
To start off, I would actually request the minister to bring his magic to the MSME and the craft sector as well. You have actually increased the rate of roads being built in India by 15x. My request is that you bring that same implementation capability to grow the what we call the creative manufacturing sector. So I'll just talk a little bit about Industry Foundation. Industry Foundation basically works with women in rural India. These are women engaged in agriculture, crafts from tribal areas, even fishermen's wives. And they produce goods that are desired by both national and international markets. And they are actually able to produce the quality, produce it at the price, and meet all the compliances for international buyers like IKEA, H&M, and so on. And these are being exported. These are being exported. These products are sold in 200 or 300 countries across the world. And this demand is growing. So, I mean, just to draw a parallel between what we call creative manufacturing. So why do we call the craft sector as creative manufacturing? No, it is no longer, if this sector is considered to be an industrial sector, if you just go back a few hundred years, when India was one of the largest exporters in the world, it was not agriculture exports. it was craft and manufactured products that were being exported from India. We were about 33% of global export before the Industrial Revolution and, more important, colonial rule. And at that time, the majority of the products exported were what you would call manufactured products. So we think, I mean, our thesis is that, for growing the economy where a good number of people get employment with dignity, we have to look at distributed manufacturing. And like the minister is now working on the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, can this be modernized? Can it have design which is actually relevant to consumers so that more and more of these products can be sold? So one, can this be a major contributor to the economy? Number two, on the infrastructure part, building infrastructure, distributed manufacturing and design infrastructure, which is employment and skill intensive. That is something that our country needs. Again, if you look at the craft sector, today the demand, with a lot of e-commerce coming in, is that the MOQ numbers have come down. The minimum order quantities have come down. Today, people want 200 pieces of something, not 20,000. So if you look at Amazon and people like that, they are demanding short run, high quality, customized production, which can be done actually in these decentralized production units. Of course, this infrastructure also needs logistics connectivity, especially in areas like the Northeast, East India, and so on. So I think the road building program that you're embarking on will really help that, along with the riverine transport. If you look at demography, again, it's women, it is people who are underserved in tribal communities and in remote villages, and especially youth who are aspirational, this is an industry that actually make use of the demographic dividend in India. The Prime Minister mentioned digital technology, and there is technology that is being developed across the country and outside for production and for transparency and traceability. At industry, we have formed a coalition called Platform for Inclusive Entrepreneurship, where we have already started building out a digital marketplace. For farmers, there's something that has been built out and tested out in several states. In just one season, 1,200 farmers created a transaction of 29 crore rupees. This was just as a pilot. Now we need this to be adopted by the government to be able to be scaled up. When we talk about demand and supply chains, again, these supply chains for the creative manufacturing industry use largely local sourcing because the infrastructure is local. I mean, we work with about 1,200 women in Tamil Nadu alone, another 600 in Odisha. All these women literally walk up to work. So it's not that they're having to commute long distances. Most of their work uses locally available natural materials, and most of their products are actually exported. So we think that there is a good fit with the Atmanirbhar Bharat program, but it will require a lot of support from the government to be able to scale this up. When we look at inclusive jobs and what we call inclusive jobs, growth, and sustainability, I think one of the things that we need to be cautious about is that when we are growing, we have to make sure that we are not defuturing. We are leaving a planet for the next generation also. It doesn't get consumed in our generation. So this particular industry, sustainable tourism, sustainable and cultural creative manufacturing has the potential for what we call refuturing. The title of this webinar is actually Regenerative. When we're talking about regenerative, we're not talking about mere sustainability or what we call net zero in sustainability terms, but positive growth. Whatever ills of the past have to be corrected now if the planet and the environment has to improve. So when we talk about jobs, we're talking about inclusive jobs that bring dignity, that allow people to contribute to society and people can thrive. People like weavers and all that have intrinsic skill. They are proud of the work that they do. Can we create the markets and the designs that these people can earn well and with dignity? When we talk about growth with meaning, we're talking about responsible consumption and production, leading to sustainable growth. And lastly, sustainability. We need economic sustainability, which means that the capital systems have to support this industry.
I quit now.
Okay, we've just lost you for a minute. You're not still with us, but I think some of the aspects that Jacob was talking about is echoed very much by the almost 200 people on listening to this webinar, working on textile industry and really interested in the. There you are, Jacob. I was just saying that many people on the chat are talking about both the sustainability, ecotourism, and eco manufacturing aspects. So you were starting to talk about the refuturing, but also that is an important piece of thinking about how we build regenerative economies. Jacob, if I can give you another minute or two to wrap up, and then I'd love to also speak to Valeria about the tourism sector and how we might recover from this period.
Yeah, and I think one of many chats that we are seeing also is that what could the government's role be here, especially in a leadership role of what we call massive collaboration between what in Indian terms we call Sarkar, Samaj and Bazaar. Sarkar being the government, Bazaar being the market forces and the market players, and Samaj being the civil and people society, as it were. The Honorable Minister is actually very well known for the PPPs, the public-private partnerships that he engaged for building the highways at the speed that he did. But now perhaps we need to look at a PPPP, which is public, private, and people partnerships, the civil society partnerships, for being able to do these regenerative business economies. I think I'll just offer a segue. The minister talked about how transportation, especially riverine transportation, and the hill transportation that he has created, can actually go a long way in tourism. And perhaps, Valeria can talk a little bit about tourism now.
To the minister at the end for a final word.
I will show you this watch. This is from Khadi Gramodyog, and this watch, the belt is in Khadi, and watch is from Titan. I launched this watch. Actually, it's cost 5,000 rupees, ladies and gents, both type model was there. And within a month, total watch is out of market. Now we are again making the manufacture of it. It is, you are absolutely correct what Mr. Matthew is telling to it, that giving more priority to handloom, handicrafts, and the women, particularly the self-women groups. That is exactly our priority, and we are making special schemes for that. On the same line which Mr. Matthew is telling, where I will request him that if you can give some your good idea and proposal also. We are now working on that line, and we will work it, because that is the line where we want to develop. Now we are making solar charka, giving to 10 lakh ladies entrepreneur. They can make the thread from that, and we can give it to the company, textile company. And there is a solar vastra. We have already got the 350 now planning clusters where this type of people can, even ceramic, then metal craft, then textile, everywhere we planning on that line. So already Khadi Gramodyog, now we have taken decision to give a new vision to Khadi Gramodyog. We are making this denim, Khadi denim, and your USA company, Levi's somewhere, they are taking our Khadi denim for that. It's of good quality. So even in sericulture also, in Banaras, all over in the country, India has got a huge potential. But exactly, you are absolutely correct. What you are telling to us, exactly on that line now, we are giving vision to our policy for particularly village industry, and where our emphasis is more, our priority is more, to create more jobs, more wealth for them. And that is to the social entrepreneurship also. That is, we have to find out who can work there. So with the same line, we are working on that.
Honourable Minister, do you allow me to add something to that? Like what Jacob was mentioning was exactly what you were mentioning, like decentralized economy, creating growth in villages, like you're saying is your priority. You want to create more exports, you want to allow sustainability. And as you know, because it's being told by Prime Minister Narendra Modi last year on Independence Day, tourism is a new priority of India. Tourism must become a hub internationally for India. And I wanted to say something about that. Tourism absolutely needs to be that because it can lift many people out of poverty. It can help preserve and regenerate your fantastic culture, natural landscape, all the heritage that there is in India. I know about it because I lived there for a few years. It's an absolutely incredible country. But tourism is also very dangerous. In the state of things, tourism is destroying our world. Like we don't necessarily know it because as I know I'm based in Venice and often say there are so many people coming to Venice, 25 million people coming to Venice every year to a city of 53,000 people. Everybody must be so rich. Everybody must benefit so much. But that's not true. In the past 70 years, tourism has developed like really exponentially, and so has the displacement of people. 70% of people have been leaving the city. The ecosystem is being damaged. The culture is being threatened. So I guess my point here, because we don't have much time, is that the way tourism must be done is exactly what you were saying is your mission. It has to be reformed. It has to be transformed to perform, bringing social and economical value to everybody. Because now we see that many people are at risk of losing their job. I've been 42 million people in India. Okay, so it's the moment to try and save those businesses, help those people who are mainly in SMSs, but also prepare the sector for the future. So it's no longer exploitative, but it helps preserving the wonderful assets that your country has, that all country have, right? So it nice time for transformation. And as social entrepreneur, with what we're doing, we've developed a model that allows doing just that, to bring money of tourists directly to the local businesses that are doing good to the community, to preserve the artisans, to preserve the culture, the environment, and so on. We've created a model with new KPIs, with new strategies that we have implemented here, but that we're aiming to share with the rest of the world to allow to transform this sector at the root. So if you're interested in growing your export, in creating new jobs in a sustainable way, in making sure that India continues to shine for the strength of India and its preserved for more generation, like we'll be delighted to continue this conversation with you. I don't want to hold too much because I know we have only 5 minutes left, so maybe we can go into conversation. But just know the potential of that sector that is often overlooked, but can bring so much to create social and economic equality, which is the goal that you mentioned earlier.
You're absolutely
correct. Actually, what you are feeling, that exactly we need to formulate the policy. We are giving our special priority for them. We have got Khadi Gramodyog Village Commission. They have got lot of projects. Now we are making to actually sustainability is very important because the majority people in that area, they are socially, economically, educationally very backward. The education facilities and health services also not there in a sufficient way. So when we accelerate the economy on that area, 100% that is going to develop all the sectors. So with the same line, we are encouraging the ladies entrepreneur, we are making special things for them. What my good suggestion is, from your experience, and Mr. Mathu was telling me on the basis of that, what exactly you are expecting, we are doing on the same line. But what exactly you are expecting, how we can implement more schemes by which will be more effective. If you have any suggestion from your side, we are 100% very positive to consider all that thing, and we will plan for that.
That's wonderful. I think that both Jacob and I will be delighted to speak more with you and all the relevant colleagues to help you write the right strategies That's wonderful. I think that for speaking for me, from my hand, I think what we are looking to is to help, because you are willing to build all this sustainable development, is to help you draw those policies, to help you equip people everywhere in India with the tools, the knowledge, and the strategies that they need, so that they can make this change easily. So we can manage to have a ripple effect, to equip as many people who are empowering themselves, people who are on the ground and can benefit from it. So that's really our goal, to help you help the Indian people live who are in touch with the community. And we can do that both by helping with policy and by training people, providing technologies, and so on. So it's really open to what's your need.
One of the things that would be really nice is if India can take a leadership role, a global leadership role at organizations like the UN and so on, to actually create almost like a ministry or a special task force to ensure that the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, are not forgotten in growth, job creation, and so on. It is integrated into everything that we do, so that not only do we grow, but we grow in a sustainable way. Not only do we grow, but it takes everybody along in the growth, including people who are excluded today. Women, people who are in tribal areas, people who have got less education, less money, and people who are in these sectors, which sometimes are dubbed as sunset sectors, but they are actually sunrise sectors, like you demonstrated with your watch strap. These are actually sunrise sectors. So our hope is that a special task force or a ministerial group could actually do the same thing that you did with roads. Multiply the sector by a factor of 15 or 20 or even 100, so that this sector becomes a sort of a beacon to the rest of the world. And we are hoping that India can take a role from the government, but also represent at all government bodies and international bodies and demonstrate that this is possible to do. And I think your government and people such as you have the capability to pull this off. And we are all there to support this, with everything that we can do. And actually, if you look at all the participants and the questions that they're asking, it is all moving towards this. So, Mantriji, if you have the ambition to do this, there is a whole lot of people here who will support you.
100%.
Your cooperation, your suggestions, and we will arrange a meeting with my secretary and my official team. And what your suggestions you are giving to the government on that line, we will definitely plan the policy. We are working on it, but sometime on the government level, the grassroots level feedback, which is very important for making policy, is very important. And whatever the feedback from your side, with your experience, with your suggestion, we will definitely make the cooperation, and we will do it.
Yeah, with the social sector, for example, I just want to give you a small example. Right now, a lot of people on this group belong to something called Creative Dignity. This was set up when COVID first broke out. And we have about 200 people, volunteers, with about 1,000 social organizations, which are collecting information from villages, from different parts of the country, about the problems that artisans are facing. So we have already established, how much of stock they are holding, which they cannot sell, how much of raw material that they are holding. So this is actually a huge voluntary group. It's almost like the monkey brigade during the freedom struggle. Conveyed information up and down the country. We have this talent in the country, and we should utilize it.
Actually, I am a social entrepreneur. I am not a politician. Last at least 25 years, I am working as a social entrepreneur. I am making amino acid from hairs, cutting hairs. I am making organic foods and fruits, vegetables. Then we are running, my trust is running 1100 acre school in Gadchiroli district, Naxalite area. Then I have now presently I am working in agriculture, and my all organizations coming together turnover is 1300 crores. So we are exporting fruit, vegetables. We are using organic technology for that. Then a lot of my interests are there. We are making the sericulture also. We are working in bamboo. So my already I have more faith, and I am working as a social entrepreneur from last month. This is not my business. I have got the expertise of making tunnels, express highway, bridges and roads, but I am not doing that. But this my story is not known to the people. When you come to Nagpur, you can see the projects. Presently, we have given employment to 15,000 people in the area, and now we have the turnover of 1300 crore. And we have started all this project only in agriculture and rural area. And now we are doing lot of experiments. So this is my passion. This is my interest. Fortunately, I am a minister. So your ground level feedback, which you can give to me, 100% on that line we will implement, and we will make the policy. And if suppose anywhere there are some negative things may be there, we can rectify, and we will support them. We want to do more for that, and that is exactly my highest priority for doing 115 aspirant districts. Agriculture, rural and tribal is ultimately, this is my highest priority for giving these people to good sustainable and good economic life. That is exactly a mission for me, where I am more interested to work for that, and we will take all your suggestions and we will seriously think on that line.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, and thank you to Jacob and Valeria. This has been, as a concept, we wanted to talk about social entrepreneur and government partnerships. What we've seen is it actually happening on this call, which is incredible, and the solidarity between the social entrepreneur community coming from a place 20 years ago saying we're doing things because government or not, to actually saying we're prepared to help in whatever way we can as a collective, I think is important. And to hear the minister talk in solidarity, connecting personally with social entrepreneurs is very powerful. The fact that we've already got a meeting and perhaps a special task force happening with your ministry, I think is a very exciting, concrete next step as well. And Jacob, between you and the Catalyzing Change campaign and Catalyst 2030 can help to pull together the right people for that. And on the tourism front, we didn't even get into it, but I think one of the points to note that also came from Supriya from UNDP on the chat is mindful that we're still in the middle and will be in the middle of a COVID crisis for some time. And these sectors will be very hard hit. And that your work to be intentional about the rebuilding and the opportunity of rebuilding, but also protecting livelihoods that exist is critical. So I wanted to thank everyone now. We're a little bit over time, so we're going to wrap up. Honourable Minister, for your precious time. Also to Jacob, Valeria, and the whole team that have put this together. Thank you so much. It's been really important, instructive, and this will be part of an ongoing set of questions and themes around how governments and social entrepreneurs can work together because of the work social entrepreneurs have done in exploring how the models can actually work. We've got proof, we've got the social R&D that these models can work. And now that we're into a space where governments are open and we have leadership in certain ministries around the world to do this, this is exactly what we need to apply our minds to working together. Thank you all. And from our side, wrapping up and wishing you all safety wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you.
आता काय